and bienvenidos. Hello and welcome to Global Perspectives, the Lindamood-Bell series highlighting educators from around the world. I'm Brilliana Rollins, Manager of International Endeavors for Lindamood-Bell for Schools. In this episode, Spotlight on Honduras, MTSS in an international school. I'm joined by Laura Martinez. Laura is a special needs educator and student success center lead at Escuela Internacional Sampedrana in San Pedro, Sula, Honduras. It's often called EIS for short. Welcome, Laura. Nice to see you again, and thank you for speaking with me today.
Thank you, Brill. It's an honor to be here.
Always a pleasure to speak with you. To start off, tell me a little bit about yourself, your background in education, and your school, EIS.
Yes. Well, I consider myself a passionate teacher who believes in the potential of all learners. I have a degree, as you mentioned, in special education. I'm also a Montessori teacher and have a master's in international teaching. Currently, I'm through my doctorate level in education, my doctorate degree. I have been working in Escuela Internacional Sampedrana for the last 16 years. Our school is located in the heart of the Merendon Mountains in San Pedro Sula. And EIS is a school that seeks, to be the premier school in the region of Central America through the use of the best teaching practices with the goal of reaching all of its students. Basically, our programs of studies will strive to focus on the formation of the whole person in all dimensions of learning, like the school believes in academics, civics, sports, performing arts, practical activities, and of course, the human values. EIS has 5 interdependent schools. We have the Early Childhood Center, starting with those little ones, 2 years old, and elementary school, middle school, and all the way to high school, 12th grade. We also have a sister school at La Lima campus, which is in a nearby city. Almost all students are native Hondurans and English language learners. I am currently the leader, as you mentioned, of the Student Success Center at the elementary school, what we call the SSC. And our Student Success Center supports all learners, especially Tier 2 and Tier 3, who need consistent intervention to achieve their academic goals.
It's so wonderful that EIS has that Student Success Center and sees the value of having a dedicated team committed to increasing student achievement down there at EIS. And I have to add, EIS is a stunningly beautiful school. I've had the pleasure of going there. So it's a beautiful school on top of everything else that it does. So
it is, as I mentioned, just being surrounded by this beautiful mountain around us.
Now, this March in 2020, like much of the world, that beautiful EIS campus had to close for learning, and you and your team had to make a very quick transition to providing your learning support services online. What were the successes that you had, and what were some of the challenges that you had during that transition?
Well, Brill, we were not the exception. Honduras was not the exception. When the pandemic got to our country, we had immediately to close school campus and we began an emergency virtual teaching plan. At the beginning, it was really harsh, I would not lie. We started from scratch, not having a clear picture of what, where, or how to begin the virtual learning, especially in the younger levels. We spent hours of hard work to put together a plan that would serve our students. It was really trial and error. For the first 2 weeks, we started with an asynchronous model in which students were assigned work according to their levels and their goals, and they would have to complete and submit for feedback using the school platforms. Eventually, when we understood, Brill, the magnitude of this situation and that we had no clear date of when we were going to resume back on site, we had to combine the two models. So we started doing, the asynchronous and synchronous model, where students started with live sessions with a whole class approach of live sessions, a small group support also in live sessions. And we had to quickly learn how to use platforms like Zoom and Google Meets. with all their features to provide the best instruction that we could virtually. Many identify students, like especially the ones like with an individualized educational plan with an IEP, soon started showing delays in whole group instruction, and we had to provide small group and individual support for them in order to meet their needs. We were very successful, I will say, Brill, by having a growth mindset, by being flexible and adapting to this new learning practice. One of the many challenges that we had was to set together a schedule that was really hard, that would continue providing consistency, specifically in the department that I work, that is the Student Success Center, that will continue that consistency and that frequency in the amount of hours that we provided students. Although the huge challenge was switching, from face-to-face learning to the virtual mode. We had to create virtual resources that comply with the learning goals.
Yeah. But of course you did it because you're amazing educators, just like all the educators around the world who in an instant, all of a sudden became technological wizards so that you could provide that same level of instruction that you were able to provide face-to-face. So kudos, hats off to you and your team for all that you've done. Just to step back for a moment, would you please go ahead and describe the multi-tiered system of support framework at EIS and how the programs authored by the founders of Lindamood-Bell are utilized within that framework?
Yes. Well, at EIS, we do the structure of the multi-tier system support that connects directly to the response to intervention model. And Lindamood-Bell programs just fit perfectly to our needs as a bilingual school who requires to optimize the acquisition of English as a second language. We have been in a successful partnership with Lindamood-Bell for the last decade, and I am excited about that. We do serve all students in different settings. Like, for example, we have like tier 1. We use Lindamood-Bell programs as enrichment strategies for them. The whole class benefits. For example, in the early childhood center, we have the toddlers that are 2 or 3 years old, and they receive the Talkies program in Spanish. Isn't that cool? Because it's their mother tongue language. So we really wanted to focus on the Spanish, and we use the Lindamood-Bell program Talkies for that. Then when they enter nursery, that they're 4-year-old, they receive Talkies program in Spanish to help reinforce the English language acquisition with developing concept imagery, vocabulary, the oral expression through receptive and expressive practice. Then pre-kinder, all the way through kinder, we implement the Seeing Stars program that helps strengthen the phonological processing, the symbol imagery, the sight word recognition, and eventually we want them to get to read, right? That fluent reading. At the elementary level, though, we implement both programs, the Seeing Stars and Visualizing and Verbalizing as a whole class. And we also do tier 2, tier 3 in small group, a combination between push in and pull out support, depending on the student needs, and to provide them support to achieve their goals.
I love the focus on that preventative model of giving these skills to the students at a young age. It does 2 things. You have less students who need additional support, but you also are more able to identify the students who may need additional assistance at a younger age, since these programs are being utilized throughout, from the little ones all the way up, as you say. So wonderful. Yes. It's a wonderful framework that you have there at EIS.
I also want to mention, Brill, that Lindamood-Bell, has guided us teachers all the way in this learning path. Like, we have never been alone, trying to incorporate. We receive all year long permanent coaching with experts who help us to write the lesson plans, conduct sessions, deliver the programs with fidelity, to pace learning, to monitor progress, and also to report to parents and administrators. And that is something, awesome that we started to incorporate and that works perfectly.
Well, you and the rest of the team at EIS is such a pleasure to work with. How could we not continue for years and years to work together? Now, we're recording this in late August, and school starts next week for EIS. And so I know it's going to start off as a distance learning plan. What is that plan looking like, and how has your role changed?
Well, definitely, teachers, it's expected a lot from us right now. So we're expected to teach right now from home. We cannot move right now in order to go to the school campus, but eventually teachers will be expected to teach from school campus, to use the facilities at EIS with all the technological equipment for quality virtual learning. We are positive that soon we will be able to receive students, in a couple of months, and implement a hybrid system where they can some days come, to school on site, to campus, and other days it will be virtually learning from their homes. I, like most of the teachers, will have overlapping roles to guarantee the academic and the social emotional well-being of all learners. This means that I'll be working together, like in partnership, for example, in my case, with a first grade homeroom teacher, me as the learning support teacher or co-teacher assigned to that specific classroom for support during live sessions, assisting during independent time using the platforms Seesaw or Google Classroom, and providing, small group support. During the afternoons, though, after lunch break, I would serve as a student success center teacher. So I will provide support and intervention for 30-minute sessions to tier 3 students that need that extra support in order to achieve success.
Many hats you will be wearing, yes, as so many educators. Now, how will the MTSS framework, the RTI model, look during this digital campus period? How are you going to continue to meet the needs of your learning support caseload?
Well, definitely the framework has changed. It was impacted directly, especially the quantity of students, the frequency and timing of sessions. We used to have 1 hour long sessions with a max of 5 students 4 times a week, a combination of push-in reinforcement with homeroom teacher and pull-out sessions at the Student Success Center. In our virtual model, we will provide reinforcement, ideally one-on-one, or in small group, max 3 students 2 or 3 times per week. So definitely, it has been affected, the framework of the students being in front of a screen and receiving support.
Right, but as is the theme of 2020, right? We find a way. We find a way to give the students what they need. So lastly, Laura, what are you looking forward to the most when it's safe to return to campus for learning?
Well, Brill, you know me, I'm a romantic, and I consider myself, a very caring teacher, and I believe in the power of embracing a strong relationship with the students. I do want to express in different ways my interest and my care for them, like with a hug that I can't give them right now, a high five, a pat on the back, a sincere, eye contact, a word of motivation, or just a simple, face-to-face smile.
Yeah, it will be nice. It will be nice. Well, again, Laura, thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. The perspectives you shared will be of great value to many. I hope you have a great school year. I know you will. Gracias and te cuidas.
Te cuidas tú también.
Thank you, my friend. Talk to you more soon.
Thank you.
For more information or to schedule an overview of Lindamood-Bell Professional Learning and our evidence-based literacy programs, please connect with me through email, phone, or LinkedIn.